Hello and welcome YouTube. This is TSR Dion of the 409th. So I've got a pretty good 1 versus 1 grassy flatlands battle for you here today. My opponent, I don't know who my opponent is. This person, he showed up in a very mysterious way. I heavily suspect this is a second account of someone who's very good, who I probably know, but they didn't want to face me on their main account. So this is the battle you're going to see here, because as soon as this battle started, I could immediately tell this is somebody who knew what they were doing. And in the context of 1 versus 1 grassy flatlands, you hardly ever run into players who actually know how to play. But today was such a day. So, for this battle, I'm going to be playing Sweden. Sweden is not a usual army for me, but Sweden is quite good in the format of 1 versus 1 grassy flatlands. It's also a unique Sweden build, so I have 2 rifles, which people usually don't bring rifles with Sweden, but I have 2 of them. I've got about, I believe, 4 line infantry. I've got 4 guards for sure. I've got 6 mounted Jaeger, gun cavalry, and I've got a 6-star general. And I believe I have 1 militia with this army too. So that should give you a pretty good picture of the army I have. You see I've got the guards on the flanks, I've got the rifles right there in the center, and I've got the line infantry roughly in the middle. It's my 1 militia unit. And yeah, it's a unique build, but let's go over and show you why I believe this guy is pretty good. So he's got Prussia, he's got lots and lots of line infantry, he's got only 2 Prussian Fusiliers. You see the 1 Prussian Fusilier right there on his flank there, behind his line. He's got about 6 Lancers. Yeah, he's got 6 Lancers. He's got his other Prussian Fusilier on the flank. He's got 8th Light Regiment right here in the center. He's got his Prussian Fusilier behind his lines over on this opposite flank here, with a ton of line and a guard behind it on this flank too. So this army he has here is very bulky. He's got a lot of men, he's got a lot of line units, he's got very few Prussian Fusiliers. This army is designed to be very bulky and big. It's a very beefy army. It is designed explicitly to counter Sweden. Is what this army is intended to do. What this tells me is that this is a player who more or less knows the game. He knows very well what he's doing. He knows the meta of the game. And so this is a situation that I have a very real chance of losing, because not only is this a good player, but he also brought an army that directly counters the army that I'm using now. See, I think that's a standard Prussian general. No, that's Count Bennigsen. Yeah, so he's even got a 3-star general there to slightly boost the overall morale of his army. So here we go right here. I'm moving up with my rifles right dead center of his army. You see there, I'm doing this to kind of see what he's going to do, see how he's going to respond. This is what I do. I often will make a bold move from the start to see how my opponent will respond. This is a very bold thing I'm doing here with the 2 rifles up dead center of the map. There's no obvious way for him to respond here, but he is going to start to move a little bit towards it with 1 of his Prussian Fusiliers. Definitely, no matter how this goes, this is going to be an interesting battle here. So because I know this is a good player that I'm dealing with here, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to have to cause a distraction. I'm going to try to distract him on this side. You see, I'm gearing up to cause said distraction over here by pointing my rifles at him. Meanwhile, I've also moved up 2 cavalry units in striking position, ready to go just in case he responds in a way that I don't quite want him to. While he's responding to that, I use the opportunity to go right in at him all here. Most players would not respond quick enough to this second attack if they were already focused on the other side. But to my horror, I noticed that he responds immediately to what I'm doing here. He shoots with the Prussian Fusilier and he runs back immediately. He's also pulling back with his lines, and he's getting another volley off with his musketeer unit there behind his Prussian Fusilier. That right there lets me know exactly, okay, this guy's good. That's the type of thing that lets you know how good someone is. This guy is clearly very good. Okay? The average player would have been caught up by the first distraction that I made, but he responded basically immediately, which tells me his response time is very, very fast. So, you see me shifting my units over. He also shifts his units as well. I'm moving 2 cavalry units. He's also moving 2 lancers. He's following me. He's following my every movement just like a good player would. Now, because I have these rifles and I outrange him technically, I'm going to keep trying to move back and forth with these rifles to try to get some type of a volley off to respond to what he just did there, because I just took damage. Granted, I didn't take any devastating damage, but I did take some damage and I do need to respond. So I'm doing multiple things. I'm moving the rifles and I'm also moving up with my gun cavalry to try to get a volley off. And that's not quite going to work out for me because his line unit also moved up, and if I didn't pull back when I did, he was probably going to catch me there. But okay, I start moving up with 2 of my foot guards here on the extreme flank to try and threaten him, but it's largely a fruitless move. It's just a way for me to apply more pressure to the extreme flank. Again, I've also taken a second volley from him. I've taken 2 free volleys from him at this point, and I've given no return fire. This is not looking good. This little jostle that we're doing here before the main battle actually starts here has not been going in my favor. Again, it's not game-changing damage he's doing here, but it is nonetheless still damage I don't want happening. So I'm setting up here for a push on my left side against his right side. I'm setting up here. I already know more or less, since this is a good player, I'm going to have to do 2 things at once here to try and get any type of a successful push against him. And yes, just to be clear here, I do need to be the one to push because I see his army is set up to be defensive. So you see me moving the 2 mounted Jaegers to the extreme flank, setting up for an attack. I'm also going to need to push on this side, which I'm currently doing here. I'm pushing the militia up to start my attack on this side. So I'm really committing to a hard attack on this side. That's basically going to be a throwaway attack. At the same time that that's happening, that's commencing, I need to be pushing forward on my left side against his right side. At the very same time, I'm moving the mounted Jaegers in. I'm moving the lines up. Contact. Moving 3. I've got 3 different attacks going here at once. I'm getting at that Prussian Fusilier there. I'm also moving up and getting some shots on the flank there. He responded with 2 of his lancers on the flank there. He did go into square, but he's also counterattacking with his lancers, which is going to be a very devastating thing for me. But okay, I did get a full volley off of my guards to get his square line infantry. I've also got some volleys off for it there in the lines there in the center. He did catch me with his lancers against my mounted Jaegers, and he also counterattacked successfully against the line unit there in the center. But I've also did quite a bit of damage to him there because I got 1 of his units there around in the center. A massive cavalry fight is developing here on the flank. This is going to be a very desperate cavalry fight, but one that is very necessary for me to win, because if I don't win, it's GG. If he doesn't win, it's also GG. So the battle is quickly developing here, and it's going to be decided right here. So I'm pouring in all of my cavalry units in as many lines as I can. Because there's so much cavalry blobbed in over here, we both have to keep our lines in square. We're both keeping our lines in square. The cavalry's in a very vicious struggle. I'm getting the slight upper hand here, gradually. But I'm also losing some cav too. I'm moving in my general here to try and keep the morale intact, because if I don't, my lines are going to rout. He's now getting the upper hand in the cavalry fight here, but I'm moving in more cavalry from my other flanks. You'll see them up here in a second here and go into action. I've also unsquared my lines to try to get some more shots off. He tried to get my general there. Fortunately, my general was able to survive. You see my additional cavalry coming into the fight here. He's trying to catch my lines in the back with his lancers. Quickly moving my mounted Jaegers against his lines to keep them in square. I mounted a foot guard or a line there on the flank. I've also mounted his lancers, which that's very, very good for me. I'm also maintaining the pressure on the other flank, so it's not like nothing's going on the other flank. But you see here, I've got the upper hand. I barely managed to get the upper hand. My lines are very, very weak. I'm barely holding on. My general is the only reason my line units are holding on, and I'm maintaining this upper hand here on this left side attack that I've done. I'm getting the upper hand. He sees and recognizes that I've got the upper hand, so he's going to start to retreat here on his right side, and that's going to result in me getting the overall win. This overall fight resulted in a tactical victory for myself. It's not GG. He can still win this, but I did win this tactical fight here on the site. So I'm also got some things going on here on the right side. He's gonna pull back over here too. So you see here, I managed to make 2 simultaneous attacks work out, and because he's such a good player, I had to make something like this work. This is very, very hard to do, by the way. I cannot stress this enough. This is a very hard thing to do, but I managed to overpower him on both flanks. As I said, this is not completely a done deal for him, but I did get the overall victory. So he is going to be on the retreat for the most part. I've lost all of my cavalry in the effort to do so, I believe, but I outnumber him with my line units as a result of this. So he's going to pull back. I'm going to give chase. I've still got my rifles in the center, so that's going to further put a good bit of pressure there on the center. I outnumber him on the right and the left, and he still has the opportunity to pull something off with a desperate attack if he can cause a micro mistake. But I'm very aware and making sure that I don't give him any opportunity to cause a micro mistake by me. As long as I can prevent that, the game is basically mine. And yeah, so I believe neither of us have any cavalry left. I think he maybe has 1 lancer that he's going to use. He's pulling back towards the red line. As a matter of fact, he's getting quite close to the red line now. Because he's getting close to the red line, you see he's got his general there, the Count Benningsen, and no, I think he doesn't have any lancers left. So yeah, we basically both used all of our cavalry in that fight. But he's coming up close to the red line now, so he's gonna have to do something. He can't keep running away forever. He can't keep running forever. So he's gonna try to do something here in a second. Yep, the red line's getting quite close, so he's going to try to push initially with his right side, my left side. He's going to initially try to push there, but I'm going to see it and start to pull back from there to give him an opening to stop trying to attack me here. And let's see. Yeah, he's trying to stack up over here. I see what he's going to try to ultimately do here. That's why you see me moving a line from my right side over to my left side to try to bolster that side to where he cannot push it anymore. That's going to stop his push over there. But it is going to also prevent... I can't really push him on this side, but he also can't really push me because I sent another line to reinforce that side. So I have effectively stalemated this side from him being able to do an outright push. So he's going to lean in onto his other side here in a second here. And he's going to use his general to do it. But actually, I'm going to push myself on this side. I'm going to push against him. And yeah, I actually forgot what went on here. I'm pushing on this side. You see, I just tanked the volley right there. I'm going to try to force him against the red line to where I can basically kill him and get rid of that unit up against the red line. That's going to prompt him to push there in the center after my rifle's fired. And see him moving his general in there in the center. I see what he's trying to do here. I'm going to run all the way back with my rifles, okay? Because I recognize that if he takes out my rifles with his general, that's going to be very bad for me. I've pushed his line up against the red line here. And I'm going to take a volley from his other line right there on my smaller line. I'm going to move up with the rest of my lines to try to finish off all those other units. Return fire right there. That's going to give me the better trade-off. And there you go. One of his lines routed up against the red line. That's going to insta-route it and take it out of the game. He pushed into my center there because I moved my rifles all the way back. He's going to try to get his general in here to try and cause something to happen. He's going to force a square with his general. I'm going to immediately try to run back to try and take that charge from his general. I'm also going to start to move over my general to bolster morale on this side because my morale is starting to get a bit precarious because he has charged me in a melee charge with, I believe, one of his guard units. That's going to put my morale very much in question. He's going to try to rear charge me with his general there so he can quickly route my line unit there on the flank. Yep, there we go. He will charge me. Because that's a guard unit he will charge against, it's going to be very dubious as to whether or not that could work out for him. I routed his line unit right there in time. There you go. There you go. His general routed. His general routed. That's GG. That's GG. That was very fortunate that his general routed. And there you go. Rage quit. He's going to go ahead and quit because his general routed. That was GG. That was a very, very close battle. But yeah, I managed to overcome an army specifically built to counter Sweden. That was a very tough match. GG to whoever that is. I don't know who it is because this is a mysterious player. I know this is most likely an elite level player. I probably know who he is, but whoever it was, GG to them. This has been TSR Dion of the 409th, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.